Right, you gotta listen to this. If you have an iPhone, in just a few years, you might not be able to buy one anymore because you probably have to subscribe to it. Yes, as crazy as that's gonna sound, an iPhone subscription is coming.
An iPhone subscription plan.
Apple will essentially offer Apple as a service.
True subscription service.
They'll get the latest and greatest hardware, including the iPhone.
Turning a $1,000 hunk of glass and metal into something that's treated like your Netflix bill.
Now that's crazy, right? But that could actually happen sooner than you think. In fact, Apple is already inching its way into the subscription model with its Apple One product. So today, for $33 a month, you get access to 6 apps, including iCloud storage. And guess what? Once you're in, you're probably gonna pay for it for the rest of your life. Now that is the power of subscriptions, and it is a killer business model. But let's take a step back and let me ask you this. How much are you actually spending every month on subscriptions? So the Netflix, Amazon, Spotify is adding up, right? In fact, according to a research, the average person in the US spends roughly $219 per month in subscriptions. And that is $2,600 per year. And that number is gonna keep going up. The global subscription economy was estimated at $120 billion in 2022. That was last year, and is expected to increase $904 billion in 2026, which is 3 years away. Okay, that's a huge jump, but why is this the case? Why is subscription such a good business model, and why is everybody turning their products into a subscription? And now the big question is, how can you, the average small business owner, take advantage of this? In fact, there is an average guy who makes $60,000 a month using this exact business model, and he has 0 employees. So that's mostly profit. So let's unpack this. But before we go there, let me show you this. So let's take 2 companies. They each do $10 million in revenue every year. Company A is a traditional company. It has to chase this revenue every single month. But Company B is a subscription model where people are paying $39 every single month consistently. And keep in mind, both companies are earning the same $10 million a year. Now, according to John Warrillow, author of The Automatic Customer, the second company can be valued 8 times more than the first one just because it has a recurring revenue. That's crazy, right? Let's take a look at a real example. So in 2005, Amazon added a subscription model when they launched their Prime membership. So for a low monthly price, you get access to unlimited free 2-day shipping. It's a win-win for both the customer and Amazon, and I'm sure a lot of you have Amazon Prime. So fast forward to today, it has 200 million active subscribers to Prime, and Amazon made $25 billion every year just from Prime memberships alone. All right, let's look at Netflix. So in 2011, they had 21 million subscribers. 2014, they had 47 million. In 2022, less than 10 years later, they had 230 million subscribers. And in 2023, this year, in Q2 alone, they've got 238 million subscribers. All right, let's take a look at another one, Spotify. 2015, they had 68 million users. 2018, 207 million users. 2020, 345 million users. And 2023, 3 years later, Q1 alone, they almost doubled their users to 515 million users. So that means they got 170 million new users in just 3 years. All right, now you're probably thinking, these are huge software companies. Subscription model makes a lot of sense for them. What about other industries? You can't possibly make everything a subscription, right? Well, take a look at this. For food, we got HelloFresh and Blue Apron, where you can subscribe to meals directly sent to your house. For fitness, we got ClassPass, and with one membership, you can try any gym or fitness classes. Rent the Runway, it was a fashion platform that shifted from one-time rentals of dresses, and they started offering subscription services for clothes. So for $100 a month, you can rent a dress. And it became a unicorn in 2019 by raising $125 million. Education, we got Skillshare and Udemy. And for coffee, we're seeing a UK-based coffee chain, Pret, introducing a coffee subscription. I mean, if you drink coffee, you're gonna drink it every day anyway, right? And cars, did you know that you can now subscribe to a car? So today you can subscribe to a Porsche through the Porsche Drive program. You can swap out between 6 types of cars anytime you want. So you can get an SUV, you can get a sports car, or you can get an electric Taycan. So let's say you've got the sports car and you say, I've got some guests coming over the weekend, I need an SUV. So you can go in there and they'll swap the car and get you the SUV. So some of you are gonna ask, how's that different from a lease? Well, it's very different. With a lease, you're tied to a car. But with this, you're not tied to a car. You're subscribing to Porsche. You now have a one-to-one relationship with Porsche, and now they know everything about you. You buy a car is a one-off transaction. They know nothing about you, but when you subscribe to Porsche, they know where you drive, maybe your driving habits, the songs you listen to, and maybe a bunch of other things. So that relationship is completely different than a transaction. And for the customer, it's all about access and convenience. It makes their life frictionless. Okay, Jason, I get this, but you're talking about Porsche, Netflix, Amazon. What about me, the average person? How do I benefit from this? Well, the purpose of this video is to get you to think and trigger some ideas in your head. Talk to your business partner, talk to your friends, and talk about how do you make your own business more recurring. But before I share more ideas, let me show you why subscription is such a killer business model. So I've got 3 reasons here. Number 1, predictable revenue. So if you walk into an Apple store and you buy a $1,000 iPhone, that is a one-off transaction and Apple may never see you again. But instead, if you're paying $40 a month for an iPhone, let's say for the next 5 years, that is a more guaranteed income for Apple.
That's what it is. It's really the predictable. Yeah, exactly, right? Like it's a guarantee that I'm going to get a new iPhone every year if I'm subscribing.
So the more predictable your revenue is, the more valuable it's going to be for the investor. And that's where you're getting the 8 times more valuation. All right, number 2, customer loyalty. So when you subscribe to a service, you're not actually doing a transaction. You're actually subscribing to have a relationship with the brand. Just like the Porsche example I just mentioned. You're not buying a car, but you're subscribing to Porsche. It's not a transaction, it's a relationship. And number 3, cross-selling. So when you manage to get a customer locked into your basic subscription model, you gotta prove your worth to the customer. But once this happens, you can offer additional services and upsells at virtually no cost. This means that you can get an additional revenue from the same customer without having to spend an additional cost. Okay, Jason, I'm sold. So how do I apply this to my own small business? I'm just the average person. I have a few ideas. But before I move on, if you like videos like this, hit the like and subscribe button. That would mean a lot to me. Alright, so let's say I'm just a graphic designer. How can I possibly do this? I'm selling a one-off service. Well, I'd like to challenge you to do a bit of math here. And this is inspired by Alex Hormozi here. So let's say you're a graphic designer. Now count all the customers you've ever had. All the customers that you've ever served and multiply it by the average monthly price. So let's just do something conservative and say that you've had 50 customers so far and multiply it by the average price of $100, right? So if these people are subscribing to your graphic design service, you'll be making $5,000 a month in recurring revenue. Now you're probably thinking, who in the world is going to subscribe to a graphic design service? That sounds absurd. Well, meet Brett. He's a graphic designer and he turned his graphic design service into a subscription model called Design Joy. And at the time the story came out, he only had 20 clients paying him $3,000 a month. Let me say that again, 20 clients. So that's $60,000 a month, which is insane. So what's his secret? And you might want to pay attention to the next one here. So the trick was he was able to target a very small group of people, which were new SaaS companies that were just starting out, doesn't have a lot of money, and doesn't want to pay $30,000 for a branding consultation fee, creating a website, social media, and all that. So compared to that, paying just $3,000 a month for unlimited revisions, unlimited designs is an obvious win for the client. Now, if you check their website, he just increased the price to $5,000 a month, and I'm pretty sure he did that because he probably couldn't handle the demand from all the media exposures he's been getting. So imagine if he still has those 20 customers, which I'm pretty sure he has, that's $100K a month. And the crazy thing is that he's still the only person running it and he still has a full-time job. So that means if he starts to hire a graphic designer, maybe pay the guy $10,000 a month, which is very generous, right? He still keeps $90,000 a month. Now, think about your own situation. Don't say I'm not a recurring business, but reframe the question, how can I make this business more recurring? I'm a photographer, there's nothing recurring about it. Well, you're not thinking far enough. If you're a photographer taking photos for real estate listings, for example, that's an absolutely recurring business because you want to be the photographer for every new listing the agent puts up, right? So I just want to make that mindset shift for everyone. Now let's take another example, something as simple as house cleaning service. You can make that a subscription. Check this out, Hassle-Free Home Services. It's a franchise, so you subscribe for $250 a month. They handle your weekend to-do list. They have a list of what they do. And if you want to remodel a kitchen, they'll do that too. And they'll probably give you a preferred price and manage the contractor for you. Because think about it, if you're subscribing to them, who are you going to hire if you need some work? They're already in your house once a month doing all this work. Who are you going to hire to do these bigger jobs? In fact, they just reported that each franchise on average earned 50% of the revenue from these bigger projects. Now, another example, if you have a premium newsletter, that is a subscription, right? If you're an accountant, you can set up your service as a subscription, and there is one already. You can check out summitcpa.com. So when they started with fixed pricing, they were making around $600,000 a year. But when they moved into a subscription model, the revenue jumped to $7 million a year. And it's all due to subscriptions. And now they even have cross-sells to other services like hire a CFO. All right, now you're probably thinking, you just showed me a lot of examples, right? So what do you think is the easiest way to start a subscription business if I'm starting from zero? So if I were to start one today, I would probably start with a newsletter. Why? It costs $0 to start, and you don't even have to be an expert in a topic, as long as you're passionate about it. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, you want to check out this video here, because I break down in detail on how you can start a newsletter business and how to get people to subscribe to it. So click on that video next, and I'll see you there.